Good morning. My name is Armand Christian SERY-BLE, and I am the president of Smyrna, Africa, and Zinaza Biomedical International. I'm also a father, a man of God, and an environmentalist, also a man of peace, having campaigned for preservation of peace, promotion of education and tolerance in Africa and the world. I'm also the father of a very large family by the African standard. My younger brothers and younger sisters, and even some of my cousins and uncles fall under my responsibility. And being a man of God, I'm also very busy along that in that area. Today, I would like to address the issue of the elections in Cote-d'Ivoire. The United Nations has given its green light for the election to be held in Cote-d'Ivoire, and I have here a petition to bring one of the candidates, Mr. Ouattara, to court. Mr. Ouattara has done a series of bad things that has made him susceptible to a lawsuit and imprisonment. He has been involved in a series of despicable things, human rights violations, and above all, he's not a national of Cote d'Ivoire, so does not fulfill requirement to run the country. I have made my position very clear over the past years and submitted my position, several correspondences to the member of the Security Council, as well as to the White House, to the State Department of the United States, as well as to the U.S. Congress. I also made my position known to the African Union and to the European Union, the French government, and to many other stakeholders. Mr. Ouattara is a national of Burkina Faso. He was first recruited out of the International Monetary Fund to help run the economy of Cote d'Ivoire. And in 1993, when the president, 3 years into his function as a prime minister, when the president died, according to the constitution, the successor was to be the president of the parliament, Mr. Henri Conan-Bédier. But Mr. Ouattara fell and refused to rescind his position as prime minister, so to relinquish power to the constitutional successor, Mr. Henri Conan-Bédier. His behavior prompted Mr. Henri Conan-Bédier to sue him, and Mr. Ouattara, in clear violation again of our constitution and of our law, run out of the country. And while he was away, he made several claims saying that he will destabilize the country. And he said, I quote, "I will strike the government of Mr. Henri Conan-Bédier and it will fall." And soon after he did make that statement, Mr. Henri Conan-Bédier was deposed by a military coup, the first coup ever in Cote d'Ivoire. So this coup plunged the entire country in a very deep state of turmoil. We've never seen that before in our country, and people died. Mind you, Mr. Ouattara was like many other foreigners who came to work in Cote d'Ivoire in line with our politics of ouverture. Mr. Ouattara was not the first foreigner to hold a high office. We've had ministers from many other African countries, and Mr. Alassane Ouattara was not anybody special, more special than the former brothers who came and sisters who came from other part of the world to work in Cote-d'Ivoire. But he vehemently refused to obey the law of Cote d'Ivoire and violated in so many ways the constitution and the law. Went as far as causing the death of so many people unnecessarily. Soon after Mr. Henri Konan Bédié was deposed, Alassane Ouattara came back into the country, did not try to be exonerated from the lawsuit, but rather was very determined to run the country, although he did not fulfill the requirement to run the country. And Mr. Alassane Ouattara, of course, could not run for elections because he did not meet the requirement. Along with many other people, his candidacy was rejected. And the rest of the candidates went to vote. Mr. Alassane Ouattara rather called his partisans to take on the street after the election of Mr. Laurent Gbagbo, who became president of Cote d'Ivoire in 2000 through democratic elections. Mr. Alassane Ouattara first was not a native of our country, was not able to provide all the necessary documents to run, and was not a candidate, yet he sent the Ivorian people on the street to go to kill each other. It was very disastrous. People killed themselves very, very savagely in 2000. It was as if it wasn't enough. Mr. Alassane Ouattara made a threat again. After threatening Mr. Henri Konan Bédié, he threatened to destabilize the government of Mr. Laurent Gbagbo, saying, and I quote, "I will render this country ungovernable." In other words, he will send hell into the country. And soon after he said that, the country was destabilized. There was another coup, a group of people that he was supporting and who were in training in Burkina Faso, his home country, came to destabilize the country of Cote d'Ivoire with a clear objective to kill the president in order to bring Mr. Alassane Ouattara into power. Unfortunately, the coup failed, and after several agreements, Mr. Soro Guillaume, the head of a terrorist group, agreed to enter the government, and a few years later he became the prime minister of Cote d'Ivoire. It is very important that I mention this because throughout the 8 years of lethargy and turmoil that the country went through as a result of Mr. Alassane Ouattara's quest to get into power unconstitutionally, there was a series of embezzlement. The country's economy went down. There were many killings, followed by ritual sacrifices consisting of drinking the blood of their victims. Pregnant women were open with machetes, and their babies were removed with bayonets. These are all a series of activities that fall under the category of public health, mental illness, and the African Institute for Epidemiological and Mental Hygiene Research is one of my propositions that I would like to implement in Africa, because we've seen that a lot in other countries, and now it has arrived in our country. And I believe that someone such as Mr. Alassane Ouattara, who has worked for a long time at the International Monetary Fund, which is about 5 minutes from the White House, would be the last person to engage into this type of activity. Only those who have a twisted mind or have some psychological abnormalities will behave in such a way, because no one in the United States will get up in the morning with a group of people heavily harmed, to go to the White House and say to Mr. Barack Obama, well, we do not agree with one of your policy, and if we can't get into your government, then we'll make this country hell. It doesn't work that way. It never worked, and it will never work in the United States. And Mr. Ouattara has lived in this country, knows very well what is right, what is not right.